Hey everyone, I'm back. This is part two. I'm trying to do these in segments. And on this one, I'm going to talk about still military single parents, or it could be full-time working parents, and co-parenting. Now, I can only talk from my experience. And so my experience is the other parent wants to be involved. I cannot speak to the other parent not wanting to be involved. But I've been asked a lot of questions about the other parent not wanting to be involved, and in fact, I'll probably put that in the next video on how to work things out. So, kind of a review. I've been a single mom since 2007. My son wasn't even a year old. I left out my little story, but my son wasn't even a year old. I was separated and then went through a divorce. And I won't lie, I was lost. I had no idea what I was going to do. And it was my dad. My dad told me that if I put my child first, and if I basically make him that light at the end of the tunnel, then that will give me direction to go wherever I needed to go. And that is indeed what happened, both parenting my child and in my military career. So another review, just like last time I said, I committed to the fact that I would not be the reason my son did not have a relationship with his father. So I wanted to make sure that he had a relationship with his father. As long as his father was willing, then I was going to make sure that I was not going to be in the way of that. I was not going to be, no, you can't do it, or any of that kind of stuff. And that kind of gets into are you a co-parent, or are you a baby mama or a baby daddy? And I would say a big thing there is you have to put self away. You have to say, self, sit down over here. There's only one goal here, and that is the rearing of this child. And that is the goal. And I understand for some people you can't separate the two, but in my situation, that's what happened. So, military mom, PCS 3 times with my child, and basically no excuses. I try to make no excuses. At all times, I will be able to care for my child in one way or another, and at all times, I'll be able to do my job and serve my country. They are both my passion, loving my child and serving my country. So let's talk about some things. You need to be able to, if you've committed to having the other parent around in some way, shape, or form, you need to work with the other parent. Initially, there was a lot of space, geographical space, between me and the other parent. So it was phone calls, it was mail, it was visits. Sometimes visits were a few months long, that kind of thing. So available to do those type of things. This doesn't mean that there was no legal something. Yes, there was a legal agreement to what we were going to do that we agreed on. We agreed on the agreement, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But we also agreed not to fight, argue, bicker, all that kind of good stuff. So working with the other parent, I'm going to go back to that. I would say for every parent, single mom, single dad, this part is for you. Write down your goals for your child. Write down your goals at every level that you have for your child. Know that your child's going to have their own goals once they get a little older. But an example of this would be, one of the things that I did was I broke down, okay, for my son's toddler years, I want this. For his preschool years, I want this. For his elementary years, I want this. For middle, high school, and college. Some of it's far, some of it's just, I want to be able to fund his education. That's as simple as that is. I haven't said, oh, I want him to go to this school right here. I just want him to have the options. So I have one for his educational goals. Like I want him to get a good education. At the same time, I want him to have the benefit of both parents. This has not always been easy because while I was a single mom, I was a full-time single mom 100% of the time, at least the last 2 years where me and his dad weren't necessarily sharing on a regular basis. And so that was definitely a little harder and it got me to where I felt like I could independently take care of my child. The last video I talked about things that helped me. I had a pretty good network. Have a network. I had a good network built. If you don't have a network, get one. So after that, like I said, write down what you have for your goals for your child. Then obviously your military. Be flexible. Know that those goals are going to have to change based on wherever you go next. Be flexible. I had a really good friend. Her name is Nina. And she told me when I was trying to, get with all this flexibility that wasn't so easy back then, she basically said, why do you feel like you have to raise that child all by yourself? You have another parent. It'd be different if the other parent didn't want to be around, but you have this other parent who wants to be around. So why can't you both do it? As in, if you've done it this long, then why can't this person do that now? Why can't the father take the full-time roles? I am 100% into single fathers as well. If you want to love your kids and rear your kids, you should be able to do that, and the two adults should try to get along. Okay, so after you have that plan, then what I would say is try to get the other parent to also have their plan, and then hopefully you two can discuss that plan. And the reason why I'm saying that plan is so important, that is to keep you on topic. That is to keep you and the other parent from staring off into, well, I remember when, and you weren't really good at that, and you weren't. No, the goal is your child. The goal is number one, your child, your child, your child. So if you keep it on that, then you can work together on the things that need to go on for that child. And you're not going against each other. It's still communication. So even if the communication failed in your marriage or in your relationship, whatever, you can still work that. You may end up having better communication as parents. I have to answer the phone. I'm gonna come back to this with part 3.